So if you ever wanted to live in a place where you can literally walk in the footsteps of pioneers, then Oregon City certainly delivers. As the first incorporated city west of the Rockies and the official end of the Oregon Trail, this historic town is packed with charm, character, and some truly beautiful homes, and we're all just a short drive from Portland. Now in this video, we're exploring everything Oregon City has to offer. The neighborhoods, the lifestyle, the history, shops in the town area. So please join me as we explore Oregon City, located on the Willamette River here in Oregon. So hello, I'm David Backholer. I'm a real estate broker based here in Oregon, and every week I release new videos on what it's like to live in the Portland metro area. And today we're here to explore what Oregon City has to offer. And then to give you a little bit of background about this area, Oregon City, we're located about 13 miles south of downtown Portland. We're perched above the Willamette River. It holds a unique place in Oregon because it's the first incorporated city west of the Rockies, and it's the official end of the Oregon Trail. This is a distinction that shapes the city's identity to this day. Now, before I go into the history of this area, I think it makes sense to bring up the map so you know exactly where we're located. Okay, so we're on our map of the Portland metro area. Oregon City, you can see, is in this dotted red outline, directly south of Portland, so it's quite close to places like Milwaukee, Gladstone. Over here you've got Wilsonville, and a little bit further south you've got places like Canby. So it's quite well located. You're probably around 30 minutes roughly to get to downtown Portland, maybe a little bit less, depends on traffic, but 25-30 minutes maybe to get to downtown Portland, and maybe about the same amount of time to get to PDX Airport. So overall, it's quite well located. Several factors. You'll see it's located on the Willamette River where the old power station is located. Now, let me just go a little further in. This area right here is kind of where you'll find the little downtown area which I'll be walking through. So there's quite a few shops here. In fact, I just put a little guy down. Let's see, somewhere right around here on the corner of Main Street. You can see it's quite an attractive, it's obviously a historical downtown area, but it's quite busy. There's quite a bit down there. You can see the nice wine bar in the corner. But yeah, there's quite a lot going on. So this is a small historical town, but it still has an active and charming area, a few places to eat, drink. There's a few breweries here, and definitely on that Willamette River, you can probably just, so just the other side of this bridge is going to be the Willamette River, and it's well located. Now, Oregon City has a real mix of neighborhoods. Throughout the video, I spent some time in this McLaughlin neighborhood. This is the old neighborhood. This is kind of where the city really was started. So it dates back to the mid 1800s. But as we go a little further south, these areas out here, you're going to find much newer homes. So in terms of properties, there's a real mix in style of homes throughout the entire area, from those older homes, older Victorian homes, through to newer modern style buildings. And you can see plenty of parks throughout. In fact, let's just go to our different view, satellite view. So you can see surrounding Oregon City, very green, lots of farmland, same to the east side as well, lots of hiking trails. Overall, a really beautiful, charming location and well situated. Okay, let's jump back into the main part of the video. Okay, so as there is so much history here, it makes sense to give you a little bit of a history lesson of the area. And Oregon City was founded in 1829 by the Hudson Bay Company, and it's one of the territorial capitals and a hub for pioneers arriving on the Oregon Trail. Now today it carries that legacy with pride. We've got the historical McLaughlin district. This is filled with preserved 19th century homes, original brick streets, and landmarks tied to Oregon's early statehood. You can literally walk in the footsteps of settlers, tour the end of the Oregon Trail Interpretive Center, and ride the Oregon City Municipal Elevator. This is a 130-foot vertical lift that connects the lower area here in downtown to the upper parts of the city, and it's one of the few municipal elevators in the world. Now, while the history runs deep, modern day Oregon City is thriving. You've got a walkable downtown filled with local shops, breweries and coffee houses, plus scenic views of the Willamette Falls, the second largest water pool by volume in the US. Now, as you walk out from the base of the municipal elevator, which is right behind me, it conveniently drops you off into Oregon City's downtown. And this is not a large downtown with high rises. Instead, it's a historical area with buildings no more than 2 or 3 stories high. Now, Oregon City's downtown has undergone a bit of a revival recently. In fact, let me just spin around so you can kind of see the types of buildings we have here. You'll find it's got locally owned shops, bakeries, antique stores, some great food options, including several local breweries, pizza joints, coffee shops. It's actually got a really charming vibe overall. It's got old town charm, very pedestrian friendly. It's not too crazy and busy, but there's still plenty enough here to keep you entertained if you live in the area. Now, residents also enjoy weekly farmers markets, summer concerts in the park, and easy access to nearby wineries and riverfront activities like kayaking, fishing and paddleboarding. Alright, so no video about Oregon City. It's going to be complete without highlighting the Willamette Falls. You can just about see these behind me. It's a breathtaking natural feature, a powerful piece certainly of Oregon's history. It's the second largest waterfall by volume in the United States, and it shaped the economy, identity and future of the city. Now, unfortunately, right beside the falls is the site of the former Blue Heron paper mill, which now belongs as part of the Willamette Falls Legacy Project. And I'll talk about that in a minute, but you can see it's clearly a bit of an eyesore down there right now. But the good news is they're going through a big revitalization plan that's going to bring new public spaces, river access, historical interpretation, and certainly some future developments here as well. Now, this area is also home to one of the oldest hydroelectric power stations in the West. This is where electricity was first sent long distance, helping to power Portland. Now, the redevelopment in this area will reconnect the community with the falls, create new pedestrian spaces, eventually add shops, dining and cultural venues, all while respecting the land's deep history. Okay, so let's take a minute and talk about housing in Oregon City. And there's a really wide range of home styles. In fact, let me show you a couple behind me right here. You've got the kind of classic craftsman bungalows in the historic McLaughlin district. Look at this beautiful Victorian behind me. And you've got also some larger modern homes and new developments further south in the area too. You've also find a lot of single story homes in this area. It's a great place if you want to kind of move somewhere without having those interior stairs. Now, I always like to look at the census information when exploring these small cities, as it really paints that picture on the types of homes you can find here. And what you can see, I'll put it on the top there, is that in 2020 there was a population of around 37,000 people, and that doubled from 1990. So it's fair to say that somewhere around 60% or more of the homes were being built here in the last 30 years. So despite the age of the area and the historical homes you'll find, there's also that mix of those newer homes from the last 30 years too. Now, prior to the 1980s, the growth is fairly slow and steady, so you'll find a fairly even distribution of homes dating back to the mid-Victorian era. Now, some of the most popular neighborhoods include the McLaughlin district, which is where I'm currently standing. This is where you'll find 19th century homes and tree-lined streets. There's also a bit of a hill here too, so you might have some nice views. This is located really close to that small downtown area. You also have the Hazel Grove Westland Farm neighborhood. That's in the southwest corner of Oregon, and there you'll find newer construction with suburban appeal. And then Hillendale and Caulfield are also very popular locations, mainly because it feels very green with plenty of parks, trails and schools in the area. Now, later in the video, we'll talk more about homes and of course home prices, but to give you a high level expectation on what you'll find here, homes start off in the mid, let me try that again, homes start off in the mid 400,000s, and the larger homes are going to go closer to $900,000 overall. Okay, so now let's turn our attention to schools. And overall, schools in Oregon City, they're fairly average for the area. According to greatschools.org, the Oregon City High School is rated a very respectable 7 out of 10. You've also got the John McLaughlin Elementary School. That one has a rating of 6 out of 10. Okay, so before we move on, I did want to remind you that every week I release new videos on what it's like to live in Portland and across the entire Portland metro area. So make sure you subscribe to my channel. That way you'll always receive that latest up-to-date information. Okay, and also if you are thinking of moving to the Portland metro area, pick up that phone, send me a text, send me an email, or you can scan that QR code you see in the top corner. That way you can schedule a one-on-one Zoom call with me, and I can talk through your specific requirements and find, what's the right neighborhood or the right city for you. Okay, so now let's explore more of the area, and then when we come back, we'll take a closer look at the current homes on the market and dig into the details on how much it really costs to buy a house here. Okay, so now let's spend a few minutes taking a look to see how much it costs to purchase a property in Oregon City. And as I mentioned a few times, there is quite a wide range of property styles and prices throughout. So I'm on my website here. I've got Oregon City homes filtered. I've got 150 results, and I'm only looking at single family homes, condos, townhouses, land. I've filtered out all of that. We're just looking at single family homes. Excuse me. So there's quite a big range. You'll see lots of homes kind of in the mid 5s, in the 4s, some in the 6s here, 665,000. But there's also some like 1.2 million. We're going to touch on that one later. But several kind of in this area, McLaughlin neighborhood. This is where you'll find those older homes. So let's start things off with there first. Let's start things off kind of at the lower end of the scale. So this one here is $450,000. Let's zoom in on this one. Okay, so first things first, this has a real beautiful charm from the exterior of the building. It's $450,000. It's built in 1920. It's 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and it's 1,740 square feet. Now, I actually think I walked through this property several months ago, and I think one of the quirky things about it was the upstairs. You kind of had to walk through like a laundry room or a bathroom. Yes, I do remember this house now. I've walked through this one a few times. But yeah, front door opens up into the living room. Kind of got there's kind of like this ventilation system. I remember this one well now. Kitchen overall is quite attractive and nice. And then you've got a small kitchen, but still very functional. And then bathroom, and then you're having to walk through the bathroom / laundry room to get to the upstairs. So it was kind of a quirky layout, and that's something to keep in mind. Some of these older homes may have some slightly functional, slightly funky layouts. This one in particular is a little bit unusual, but overall it's still a great 3-bedroom house, very attractive overall. Now, this was the other thing I didn't like personally about this house. The headroom here in this basement, I believe, was only around, I'm 6'4", but this was much lower than me, so you can't use this as usable space. So overall, it's a single level home really, rather than a functional basement. You do have some storage, and the basement access was down to the side, but $450,000 for a very attractive house. Again, built in 1920. It's 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom house. Okay, let's take a look at a couple more options. Okay, let's stay within the close proximity of the main downtown area. This one here, 1.2 million. I want to touch on this one because this is very much the upper end of what you can expect to pay in this area. The one we just looked at, 450, is very much the lower end, so we're really seeing the lowest and highest price one. This one is absolutely stunning. Okay, $1.2 million, I know that's a lot. Property taxes is $8,000 a year, so it's quite reasonable compared to other areas in the Portland metro area. Remember, this is Clackamas County, Multnomah County, which is in the Portland area. That's going to be higher property taxes. So Clackamas County, much more affordable property taxes. 5 bedrooms, 4 full bathrooms, plus a half bathroom, and it's over 5,000 square feet. This one was built in 1889. And I just love homes like this. Beautiful front porch, this Victorian charm, really grand landscaping, just absolutely spectacular. And when you walk through Oregon City, you always find these little plaques around the houses that talk about either the architect or the first owner. But overall, just a beautiful wraparound front porch. Look at the staircase, it's a window. This is absolutely stunning. Gives you kind of the real perspective, a very formal dining room, the perspective of what some of these houses can look like. And this is really, really nicely done. So yeah, very grand, very different to the first house we just saw. And we'll look at some other houses which can be newer than this one, much, very, very different. So I think the point I'm really trying to make is it doesn't matter what style home or your budget or which age home you're looking for. Oregon City will have a type of home for everybody because it's not just the old homes. There's some new homes here as well. So a big detached double garage and perhaps like an extra living spaces up there as well. This is an ADU, so you've got some potential rental income in this extra area as well. Okay, so that really gives you kind of an idea on what the absolute top end of the budget will look like. 1.2 million it's definitely a lot of money, but for 5,000 square feet, that rental unit, some of you may see that as a great investment. Let's look at a few more houses that are right in the mid price point. Okay, so far we've looked at a couple of houses here in that historical McLaughlin district. Remember, that's the oldest area, so that Victorian house, and then you have a property, the small bungalow, that was from the 1920s. So Victorian from the late 1800s. Let's go a little further out. Let's go down here, and you're going to find, you can see for yourselves, homes in the 665, we'll look at that in a moment, 640, 530, 614, 640. So it's the high fives through to mid 600,000s. And these homes are definitely a completely different style. All right, so this one, obviously a much, much newer, 2017, this house was built, and it's 5 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. It's just under 2,500 square feet. So completely different style. This goes back to what I'm saying about there really is something for everybody in Oregon City. Nice landscaping, feels nice and new, attractive from the outside. Everything's going to feel a nice open plan, but everything's going to feel modern, updated. Obviously move-in ready. It's only 8 years old, so very attractive house throughout. But again, very, very different from what we've seen. Nice high ceilings, a huge bathroom, great big walk-in closet. Some of those older homes you won't find closets like this. Probably laundry on the upper level, which is great. And again, more big bedrooms and a covered back patio. Okay, so that's kind of giving you a bit of a perspective on what it costs to purchase properties in Oregon City. On the low end, mid 400s. On the upper end, just over $1 million. And then there's lots and lots of options in around the high 500s, low 600,000s. There's also lots of single story homes throughout Oregon City too. So right behind me, you've got the John McLaughlin house. He's one of the original founders of Oregon City, and you can see it's kind of a beautiful area. His house sits upon this kind of hilltop looking down over the river. This is all part of that historical area that I touched upon earlier. And with that, that concludes our tour, but let's take a moment to recap. If you're looking to move to a place with a lot of history that has a really cute and adorable downtown, it has that small town vibe, but still has all the amenities of being close to Portland, Oregon City is definitely a place that could be a good fit for you. Homes here are more affordable than Portland. You've got some good medical facilities here too, and there's several parks and walking trails here too. Now please do reach out to me if I can help you with your move to the Portland metro area. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again in that next video.